morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, Fall Edition 2025, it is Fiesty Friday! Woo! Fiesty Friday! All right. That's about as graphic as I'm going to get. Okay, so Fiesty Friday. What are we going to talk about today? Today is the day that I get to say obnoxious things. Today is the day that I get to offend or complain, and sometimes even offend myself. All right, so every now and then I slip out a little Fiesty Friday throughout the week. It happens. And sometimes on Fridays I'm not as feisty as I would like to feel. Because some Fridays it's like, I just made it to Friday. Whew. What a week. What a week. And there seems to be more of those than I'd like. But Fiesty Friday, I try to bring some energy. I try to bring some spark and some humor, if I have any left inside for the week. I start out strong with Smiley Face Mondays at work. Tell everybody that Monday is the best day of the week, and they're like, boo, boo, poop emojis. And it's like, no. You get to start out fresh, new. Last week's past. Starting a new, fresh week. Everything's positive. There's nothing negative about this week yet. So let's move with a smile on our face so that we can get through the week victorious. So, here we are on Friday. Some days we have more energy than others. All right, you're looking at my dirty house. It needs to be power washed, yes. Add that to the list of things that that we have to get done around our work and life schedule. Okay. Yes, the star of the show is patiently waiting. She's patiently waiting. Okay. Yeah, so you know that I do these impromptu, and because I do them impromptu, I'm thinking. I hit go, and I'm like, some are quick, and some are not so quick. So, today I'm going to talk about win-win-win. Kind of like Smiley Face Monday, everything's great, yeah! But do we all come with a win-win-win, or do we come with a win-lose mentality? And now, mind you, sports is a whole nother thing. Sports are there so that we can have champions. Sports are there so that we can exhibit our strengths. Sports are there for competition. That's that part of us that wants to compete. I was such a competitor back in the day in anything I did that if I didn't have anybody to compete with, I competed against myself. It was a constant striving to be better at whatever I was doing, whether it was sports, whether it was my job, whether it was how to do something, craftsmanship, whatever it was. Now, there are some things in all of those areas where frustrated me, like sanding. I don't like the sand. It takes way too much time and way too much effort. I am not a sander. I am not a marathon runner. I'm a sprinter. So, faster was my creed. Faster. All right, so this win-lose that we have in our society now compared to the win-win of the participation trophy. We're not talking win-win. We're talking win-win-win. Okay. I'm not completely against participation trophies, for all the little kids that, it may be the only trophy they'll ever get. You participated. You know what? You come to every practice. You come to every game. You cheer. You do your best. I don't have a problem with that. That might sound really weird coming from a person my age. Because like I said, it might be the only feeling of encouragement they had. They were a winner for being a team player. They're a winner. You know, when the Super Bowl, when they have the Super Bowl, and there are players that don't play, they're sitting on the bench the entire time. You know, when their team wins the Super Bowl, they get a ring, even though they didn't participate. They may not have participated that whole season. They may have sat on the bench the entire season. They get a Super Bowl ring. So, putting that aside, because that's not what I'm talking about as far as, everybody should get a trophy. But if they put in effort, if they put in time, if they put in all the stuff, they should be rewarded a little bit. Encouraged. I'd like to go into specifics on that, but I'm not. I think you get what I'm trying to say. You know, you got the little kid that his muscles don't work quite right, but he wants to be on the team. You know, that type of thing. All right. So we have this competitiveness that's built in, and some is more prominent than others. Like I hate throwing my husband under the bus, and it's not that I'm throwing him under the bus at this moment. I haven't found that he's very competitive. You know, there are people that are not competitive. I, like I said, was so competitive that if I couldn't find a worthy opponent, I'm going against myself. I'm going to get better than this record that I had. It's not about winning over that person. It's not about winning over that person. It's you getting better, right? That's what the competitiveness inside of us is. But I took it to an extreme level, and our strengths overstretched can be our weaknesses. Absolutely. Especially when those that you want to see your worthiness and your greatness don't see it. Because they have in their mind what they want. And then it irritates you because you know you are the best. Everybody says you're the best. Everybody around you, all the workers around you says you're the best. How dare they pick that person over you? Building that ego inside of me. Well, I just got to get better. I just got to do more. I just got to do, and it's like, yeah. It was overextended, and it became my weakness. It became my nemesis. It almost destroyed me. So, with that, I still have a little bit of competitiveness inside. I don't have the physical strength, the brain strength, the, stuff that I used to be able to bring before I had gotten sick. So, it's one of those things of, well, the chances of me winning are probably slim to none, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And so that's where I'm at now. And if somebody wins over me, I'm okay with it. I'm like, I'm an old woman, okay? There's reality. And if I can beat you in my old age, then kudos for me. Try harder. Don't give me a head start just because I'm older. I want a real win. Ooh, which brings me to another thought. I got to hold on to that thought because I want to get over this competitive part first. Okay, so we have this competitiveness to us. And you know what? I am going to go there right now. It's a good transition. Okay, so when I was a kid, I've been told by my siblings that I cheated, and I think I may have tried to cheat quite a few times. I don't think I was ever really successful at it. And then when I lost, I threw a fit. And nobody wanted to play with me. I'm talking real little. By the time I got into middle school, that was over. So, and in fact, that my older sisters had left by that time anyway. They left while I was still in grade school. So they didn't see what happened after I went on into growing up and going to school and playing. So I didn't cheat there, definitely not. It was more an at-home thing. Let me get one up on my siblings because they were all older than me. How dare they not let me win? But the thing that I had learned is this, and I don't think they taught it to me. I think it's something that switched in my brain, was that a win isn't a win unless you can do it fairly. A win isn't a win if you cheat. Because if you have to cheat, it's saying you're not the best. And I wanted to be the best. And if I wasn't the best, then I needed to pick up my game. Ooh, getting warm. I had to pick up my game. I had to try harder. I had to do better. And so that was the switch that went to my head. If I can't win fairly, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to win fairly because that's the competitiveness that I had inside of me. So, that brings us to that win-lose. I win, you lose. You win, I lose. Sports should be the only place for that. Life should not be a competition. In life, it's to see how everybody wins. Everybody wins. A win-win is when two human beings collaborate and they win. And no human being loses. But a win-win-win is honoring to the Lord. Two people collaborate and work with the Lord and bring a triple win. In life, if you win and somebody loses, it's not honoring. It's not honoring God. Like I said, devoid of sports. Sports is that place where we can do that. Sports is where we can bring it with all we got, and it's like, you're going to have the champion. You know, in the days of the gladiator, it was all about competition, but guess what? It was a life or death consequence. And that's why it had to stop. It took a martyr from another country that saw this insanity going on, and he jumped into the arena and he pleaded for them to stop. Stop this. And they killed him. And then something switched. And they're like, what are we doing? So they were banned. The competition at the arena was banned because a switch was turned on that made them realize their bloodthirsty sports game was not sports at all, but life or death. And people died. And it's life that we're to choose. And not get our jollies watching somebody die. Oh, that has happened recently. What do they want to bring back the gladiator, the arenas? Bring in some lions and throw some Christians in it? Are we going back to that? Cheering for somebody to lose their life? Thought we were more civilized than that. Apparently, man's heart is always evil. I was listening to Kings. I don't remember if it was First Kings or Second Kings this morning, because I was listening while I was doing something else. And it talked about the consequences of the sons of David. You know, I was listening to about Absalom the other day, and now I was listening about Solomon and his son. And Solomon, the son of David, turned his back on God by marrying foreign wives. He had a lot. Bunch of wives from foreign nations and a bunch of concubines, and they turned his heart from God. And he set up altars to other gods. But his promise to David, Solomon got to remain on the throne. Otherwise, God would have taken him out. But he told Solomon, through the priest or the prophet, he said, look, you're going to die in office with all of Israel under you in authority. However, your kingdom will be split. Your kingdom will be split and will be given to another. And so when Solomon died and his son Rehoboam took place, Rehoboam was not a nice guy. He had the opportunity to listen to the elders of his father, and be kind to the people. But he turned aside what the elders were saying and went to the people of his age, his peers, and said, this is what the people are saying, what should I do? And they gave him bad advice. And he took it. That he was going to be a hard thumb on the people. That he was going to have them serve him and not him serve them. Remember, servant leadership. When you despise the wisdom of your elders, and you go to people that have no experience, it should be a warning. You need to weigh out what they're saying. I'm not saying all people that are older are all wise and knowing. They're not. There's some real crackpots out there that are older and probably have lost their mind in their reprobate brains. So the son of Solomon was raised by his mother, an Amorite. I think it was an Amorite. And surely she had a, she had worshipped her God. The influence of a mother on a child is very strong, even back in the day, because the men were usually off either fighting wars or building something, or, you know, and traditionally the woman raised the children. So there was great influence on the children. So, for one, God said, don't marry these people. The people of Israel should not marry outside of this realm. You know, giving his guidelines, specific tribes of people. Not because they were less than in the realm of being people, but because they would turn the hearts because of the gods that they served. Remember that Jesus has a lineage of others. Rahab was not an Israelite. Ruth was not an Israelite. She was a Moabite. So there's other nations. It's not about race or ethnicity or even financial. They married financially. That's why they made treaties with other nations by marrying their children to each other and saying, okay, you know, we're now, you know, family here, you know, so we're not going to attack you, you know, type of treaties. But doing that created a spiritual void. So we were taught what how our family has raised us. We get our ideas and we get our mannerisms even. So what we've done is we've turned from God and didn't want him in our lives. Like Solomon. We've married into other beliefs. And as we married into other beliefs, our heart was turned from God. So nobody cares about whether God wins. And when you turn away from God and you don't care whether he wins, there ends up being a space of selfishness, that it's all about me. It's all about me. I'm the one that matters here. And you don't see anything else around you. You are blinded. You have blinders on. So that all you see is the reflection in the mirror of you. But you don't see it properly because it's not a clear mirror. You have little stickers on your mirror. You have little, you know, a little crown where your head would stop. Sticker, you know. You have the little rougey cheeks where your cheeks would be. You have lipstick, a lip sticker, you know, filters. It's all about the filters these days. If you notice, I do not use a filter. You see my face as it is, no makeup. I'm not against makeup, just letting you know. But, you know, blemishes, rashes, whatever it is, you get it. There's no filters here. But we look at all our filters, I look at ourselves through filters, and we're like, aren't I wonderful? Aren't I beautiful? I win. I'm the most beautiful. I am the fairest in the land. Remember, you know, all those wicked queens in the Disney shows. They all think that they're just so beautiful. It's deceiving yourself. Deceiving yourself. Cheating yourself. By not looking at you as what you really appear. It is cheating yourself when you don't look at God to see how He sees you. God's not in a competition with you. There's no comparison. So He has His best interest for you. And we find our identity and who we are in the real, R-E-A-L, not the R-E-E-L. We find that by finding God and asking Him, who do you say that I am? When all we're out to do is win and hurt other people in the process because it's all about us. When we sit there and we go, oh, it doesn't matter that they lose. What matters is that I won. Nanny, nanny. That is a hard, cold heart. And like I said, sports is enough. I'm wearing a jersey here. I like when my teams win. I do. But it's a game. It's not life. And a game can teach you about life. You can draw a lot of things from competitiveness. You can improve certain aspects of yourself with it, knowing what you need to do to improve, to get better, to win. But life is not a competition. It's not, I make it and you don't. It's not, bless me, my four, and no more. Yes, you need to take care of your family first. That's what that phrase is talking about. But when it says, and no more, you're in a win-lose mindset. And we have to go to the win-win-win mindset. Everybody wins. God gets the glory. And that can happen. That can happen in business. That can happen in relationships. That can happen in health. In all aspects of your life, you can have a win-win-win. Even in sports, when you bring home the trophy. The other people win because they bring home something. Might not be a trophy. Might be a lesson. Need to work a little harder. Maybe not be so cocky. My son was on a basketball team when he was in high school. I'm going to talk about two different times. We'll talk there first, the basketball team. So he was on this basketball team that won every game. They won, and they won, and they won, and they won, and they won. And they were always winning. And they played as a team when the coach was there. So when the coach was there, he'd remind them about their team team playership, etc. And one day, during the playoffs, the first game of the season, they were the most winning team, as in they never lost. And they were playing against the team that had never won. And the coach wasn't there. He was late. He couldn't make it that game. And the person he had assisting got there late. So they started the game, and they forgot about their teamwork. Because they panicked because their dad wasn't there, and their coach wasn't there, and they're, reminding them that they're a team. And they became a little selfish with the ball between the top players. They lost that game. They didn't move on in the playoffs because they lost against the most losing team. The team that never won beat the team that always won because it became about individuals and not as a team. And on this earth, we are a team. And are you going to be a team player, or are you going to hog the ball and lose the game for everyone? There was another sports team that my son was on that was baseball. They never won. They never won, but they came out winning with integrity, with pride, not because they won a trophy, but because they came out with a coach that taught them principles. The other coach, the winning coach of that team, that was in a different town than this one, that coach that led the winning team to the trophies, people looked at them with disgust. They were rude. They were obnoxious. They cussed at the other teams. They humiliated the other teams. They acted so superior. Even though sports-wise, they brought it, attitude-wise, they failed miserably. And everybody saw it. And some of those teams that had won, the team that always lost, saw it. They were respectful to the losing team. They didn't taunt it in their face. They didn't humiliate them while they were playing. So sometimes the winner isn't always the winner. And sometimes the loser isn't always the loser. Because in life, it needs to be a win-win-win. Not a win-lose. Yes, in sports you get the trophy. Kudos. You know how many people my age and even younger feel about trophies? They're boxed up in an attic. They're in a box in the attic. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your trophy. I had a friend of mine, he ran marathons. And he has so many trophies from marathons. And you know what he used to do with them? Even though he was still running for the trophies? He took his old trophies and he would set them up like bowling pins for his kids to bowl with. If all you're thinking about is competition and winning the trophy for yourself, you haven't grown. You haven't grown up. That trigger in your head hasn't switched from a childish tantrum that wanted to cheat so you could win, or want other people to give you a head start so you could win. That hasn't changed. You're still in child mode. Get off the bottle, get off the milk, and step into being an adult where you think about others and how your winning will affect them. And if you win and it brings others up, that's what we want. But giving God the glory so that it's a win-win-win. You don't cheat. You don't connive. You honor. You honor God, you honor others, you honor yourself. Anything else is dishonoring. When you dishonor God, you dishonor yourself. And everybody will see it. And you may look like you've got the trophy. You may look like you got all the goods. You may look like you have all the finances, that you have all the promotions, that you have all the stuff. But when you step on other people to get there, like Solomon, you may be able to reign through your life. But your children will pay if they don't serve God, if they don't honor God, if they don't honor others. There will be a day of reckoning. And it's not something that God puts on people. He took a lot of blame in the Old Testament. It's what life does with us, or for us, or to us, if we don't want to grow up. If we want to keep in that win-lose mentality, you will one day lose. And it may not be on this earth. And that would be the real shame. And if you drag your children into it, like Solomon did, all right. That is my Fiesty Friday. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you on Monday. Don't forget to go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison, and subscribe. Like, share, comment here and on YouTube. Hit notifications on YouTube, and have a great weekend.